Absolutely. In the bottom left spawn location, playing for Team Liquid, it's going to be our red Terran player, none other than Bunny. And spawning in the top right spawn location, representing Team Acer, we have our blue Zerg player. It's going to be none other than Acer's Nerchio.
So, Overgrowth, a nice fun map coming through here, and it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun to see what these two do. There's some cool stuff going around the map. Obviously, there's the gold bases that you can look to go and take nice and quick. Some players like to take those as their fourth. Other players prefer just to expand a little bit further away from their opponents down to the bottom right. So, lots of different things that you can be going on. In terms of overall strategy, what kind of things are you hoping for, Penguin, to see out of these two players? And what kind of things do you think are solid openers at the moment?
I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of Hellbats out of Bunny. Bunny is a guy who kind of made his name off the back of Hellbats, more so in TvT than anything else about a year ago, before the ever so important first off Hellbat nerf. But ever since the Hellbats kind of came back into the fore with the recent buff to them, Bunny has kind of been at the forefront of innovation with the builds in that general respect. They've been around for a while, so Nerchio shouldn't be caught too off guard by anything, but Bunny does like his Hellbats. And last time I talked to him, he was talking about how he really likes them. He likes the aggressive Hellbat openings versus Zerg and stuff like Marine Marauder Hellbat stim timings and stuff like that. He's a big fan of that kind of stuff, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see some of those builds come out of our Terran player. Nerchio, on the other hand, I would expect him to play predominantly standard, maybe mixing in a couple of cheeses here and there just to mix it up, but he is the kind of guy who does have a very, very solid macro play.
Now, in terms of what the stats say, what people are really expecting from these two, well, Iligulac, that puts it actually pretty close, slightly favouring Nerchio at about 59 to 41%. In terms of the vote, and you can vote in Twitch chat and stuff, it's actually a heck of a lot closer. About 55 to 45%, also favouring Nerchio here. So, looks like this is, at least from the stats, going to be a pretty close series. And being a best of 9, unlikely that it's going to be a straight 5-0, I reckon.
Yeah, that's not really going to be something that's too often to be seen in a best of 9 show match, and I think we can hopefully say that we'll probably have at least a good 8 or 9 games in this lovely show match. Oh, I guess 9 is the most, but I'd like to have 9. 9 would be nice.
Well, we had 9. You weren't actually casting, unfortunately, you were away, but in Huck versus Snoot, that went all 9 games, and
yes,
that was.
I did watch that.
It was an insanely good series. So tons of cool people coming out in these show matches makes it very exciting to see how it's all going and what's coming through.
Even the more one-sided ones, though, like even the more one-sided result-wise ones, like Snoot versus Happy, have still been exceptionally close games.
They have, and that's really credit to the level of caliber of player that currently have been competing. Now, we've got the first Reaper coming in here, just doing a little bit of poking and prodding, busy working down, or trying to work down a couple of drones. For the moment, not being able to get himself a kill as of yet, but should get a couple of Zerglings pretty early on here without much trouble.
This is a kind of interesting gas timing that we see out of Nerchio. It's not gasless play. It's not like the 5-minute 30 double gas, but it's also not the standard gas you see coming out around 7. It's kind of something in the middle. So I'm kind of interested to see what he opts to go for from here. He could just be opting for just a very, very standard play with a bit of a later gas to just get a couple more drones out and be able to get those extra queens. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's just interesting to note that he's not going for the standard.
Bunny, he's getting down a factory onto that reactor immediately, but he's also getting down a very fast third command center.
That is very third.
I think that command center was even before the factory, so it was literally one rack CC, CC, factory. That was the opening from Bunny, playing this pretty much as greedy as you realistically can as a Terran. I don't think in pro games any Terran player has ever gone CC first into a third CC, then into a barracks, which would feasibly be the only thing more greedy than this.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of interesting to see how this plays out. He's going to have a really nice economic boost here as the beginning of the game starts to ramp on up as we get into the earlier mid-game stages. And we do have the Hellions being pumped on out 2 at a time as well, and a very early stim coming out of Bunny. So this Tech Lab's not going to be for anything like Banshees or anything like that, just opting to get the stim out as quickly as possible.
Now, what could be quite interesting here is some players have been experimenting utilizing that quick armory to go into Hellbats as well as some stimmed infantry. It can be a right nuisance to deal with as a Zerg player, so I'll be interested to see whether that's something Bunny does decide to go for. Meanwhile, Nerchio, he's got that Spine Crawler up. He's going up to what is actually all 4 gases plus that lair. This could feasibly be some kind of quick Mutalisk play, Penguin.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that would be good on this map, if that's what we do see Nerchio gunning for.
It's very good in the current meta, more so than anything, on almost every map, just because the prevalence of the Hellbat Marauder kind of aggression, even if it's not Hellbat Marauder, but just pure Hellbats, you're still going to have a lot of units as the Terran player that don't tend to shoot up. So 2-base meta plays are pretty common nowadays. They do fairly well against most openings, and there's Stim on the way, and there's Marines on the way, but he's only getting one Marine at a time, is Bunny. So we do have the additional Raxes coming up now for him, but there is the Spire for Nerchio coming down before the 8-minute mark, so it's going to be kind of interesting to see how much damage he can get done with this. And with some good control, he definitely could get a good amount done.
Waiting to see what Nerchio can get done with this Spire, because obviously it is on its way down. He's trying to take a third base, being blocked at the moment by a Reaper that's at least going to be able to see that it has been taken. As far as I'm aware, we don't actually have... Okay, the Hellions have now definitely been seen. They're coming in, dealing some nice damage up to this Queen, poking, prodding, getting some good damage down. A lot of Lings getting roasted here to these Hellions.
Yeah, some of them engaging before speed finishes, which is a little bit painful for the Zerglings there. A lot of Raxes coming up here for Bunny now. And we see him going up to the 5 Rax mark here very, very quickly, which is kind of a testament to how greedy he played earlier on. He's got a really good economy going. He's got 48 workers, triple mules. He's even going to be floating out his third to take as his third base as the 9-minute mark is hit here. So going to be getting that down very, very quickly as well, which could actually open up another avenue of harassment here for Nerchio. He could be looking to pressure on that third once that gets landed down as well. So it's going to add a little bit of an interesting dynamic to see how this third base is taken and how well it's defended. We have a nice little Ling counter here for Nerchio as well. We'll see how much damage this can get done. 10 Zerglings. There are a lot of Stim Marines here, so he's going to have to be careful. But he will be able to spot the third CC moving out.
Getting this spot is a good timing for Nerchio. He now knows that this is a potential vulnerability. We'll see the missile turret on its way down. Takes that down quite quickly. Again, this is just loosening things up, making potentially a little bit easier if those Mutalisks decide to come in towards that third base. Overall, if we look at the resources lost, only 275 by Nerchio. That's a handful of Lings coming down there, not much else. And 1 Hellion and 1 SCV going down for Bunny. A very passive game in terms of the losses so far, considering we're over the 10-minute mark already.
Yeah, and we do have the double upgrades coming in for both players now. A little bit late for both of them, as we did see Nerchio go for the Mutas instead of spending his gas on earlier upgrades, and we did see Bunny just add on a very early stim and just try to get up some more Raxes and get some more units out, and instead of also going for the incredibly early double engineering baits that we sometimes see. So they're, at this point, pretty even in upgrades. They're about 7 seconds apart, which is not really going to play any kind of a big role at all in any engagements, most likely. We got some really nice map vision here from Nerchio that I also kind of want to touch on, because he's got Overlord spread, he's got some good creep spreads starting up. He's taking a 4th base here, and it's going to be very difficult for Bunny to do any kind of harassment here. No drops are really going to be an option, so we see him moving through the middle of the map, which is going to be the best way to try to do some damage. And Banelings are already on the way, but it looks like Baneling speed should be done in time. It's going to be kind of interesting to see just what Bunny can get done.
Well, the Hellbats are now morphing in, so this means that they're going to be able to tank up a lot of those Baneling hits if they're allowed to. Control from Nerchio is going to become pretty important. Still moving forward, still checking to see if anything significant can come through here. Banelings getting in position. They want to try and engage. They do have speed. Coming in from the side, Nerchio wants to connect with those Marines, but good splitting from Bunny is stopping that for the moment. The Mutas, though, they're tearing through the medevacs up in the skies, and that is going to really shut down Bunny's push. Those Mutas able to pick off the few remaining Marines, and all in all, that was a very nice trade for the Acer player.
Yeah, Nerchio not only buys himself a lot of time, but even just the trade was pretty cost-efficient there. He loses a good number of Banelings, of course, but being able to take out the 2 medevacs makes that definitely worth the gas investment, and of course a lot of Hellbats and Marines on the ground. It's a lot of mineral expenditure for Bunny that went down, and that also now opens the window here for Nerchio to try to do some damage in the main base. He loses 1 Mutalisk because he goes for a turret and loses another one as well, so a little bit sloppy there, and this is actually a little bit of a rock and a hard play situation for these Mutalisks, but they will be able to get out without losing any more of their flock. And Bunny's macro has been really on point. He's already back up to a good 148 supply, more supply than Nerchio has, simply because his economy has just been so booming the entire game.
So, as Nerchio stands, he's just taken a nice trade. He's dealt with that kind of early-ish push off of those 2-3 bases that a lot of Terrans go for, those 2 medevacs, but now round 2 is coming. This is where things are going to get a little bit irritating for, obviously, the Acer player, because these sort of pushes just are aiming to wear you down. The Banelings have got to connect well. A couple of Widow Mines burrowing up. The Banelings barreling forward. It's got to be some good splits. For the moment, Bunny is avoiding those connections, but there's just so many Banelings here, Penguin. Some of them finally reaching their mark. The Mutalisk dishing out a lot of damage around that, and all in all, another great little charge from Nerchio. He can counterattack from this if he wants to.
I don't think that's true. I think that was actually a pretty decent trade there for Bunny, taking out a ton of Banelings there for Nerchio. Nerchio also has lost a good 3 Mutalisks that he didn't really have to, trading Mutalisks for... Like, he lost 1 to the missile turret earlier that he was trying to get in the main. He picked off 1 Marine in the main force using Mutalisk there as well, and the Mutalisk trades haven't been that great. Bunny here, he's taking even trades resource-wise. They're neck and neck as far as resources lost, but Bunny has a superior income here with 8 less workers, but triple mules and a 4th CC also on the way now. Upgrades still remaining neck and neck, but overall, Bunny's doing a good job. Nerchio has been able to defend pretty well, but overall the game is still very, very even. And it's hard to say who's going to be able to pull ahead here. The medevac count is up to 6, despite losing a couple of them earlier on in the game. So Bunny, he set himself up with a fairly promising army composition, up to now 6 mines as well. And with 2-2 upgrades finishing for both. Actually, Nerchio's +2 carapace is really behind. I'm not sure what's the deal with that, but
it was probably from all the Banelings that he was producing, because he doesn't have that much gas coming through now with the Banelings, so an engagement coming on this left-hand side. The Mutalisks not in the engagement yet. Those medevacs staying alive, but all of the infantry getting torn apart, and Nerchio getting a very favorable trade there, able to completely eliminate this army, now being able to pick up a couple of these medevacs as they retreat. Small groups of reinforcing infantry, not really doing enough to deal with this Mutaflock as it is up at 18. More Banelings rolling forward, and Nerchio is doing very, very good here and able to just continually force back Bunny. Couple of Widow Mines do get a nice detonation though, and the remaining Banelings get taken out. All in all, Nerchio so far this game has made a lot of Banelings, lost a lot of them, and that's where the majority of his gas is going.
Yeah, he's trying to get up to a good stable number of Mutalisks and then just invest the rest of the gas in his Banelings. And that, as you said, was a great trade. Here we see him catching 2 more medevacs as well. And the reason that was a great trade is because he was able to pick off all of those medevacs. We see just 1 medevac on the field for Bunny right now, 2 more in production. And that really is going to hinder his army. Every stim is going to hurt far, far more than it otherwise would. And it's going to be harder for him to do really anything. I mean, drops aren't really that much of an issue as he hasn't been able to drop anyway with the map vision, but his options are continuing to be a little bit limited now by the lack of medevacs and just the really, really good map control that's being displayed by Nerchio, who's not trying to get aggressive. All he's doing is out-defending his opponent.
Bunny attempting to secure up a 4th base now, but look at this flank from Nerchio coming from all angles at the moment. Couple of Widow Mines get some good shots off, but so many Banelings manage to still get through. Nerchio has an overwhelmingly large force here, starting to rack up a good number of kills on these SCVs. 6-13 already down. The 4th command center falls as well. That is a great takedown for Nerchio, who is looking to be in a very dominating position as this game continues on.
Yeah, 3-3 is coming close to completion for Bunny, but at this point, he's lost the momentum swing to really... Sometimes you have a game where the 3-3 is just the bit of extra momentum, the shove that the Terran needs to win from an even position, but Bunny has lost that momentum at this point. It's not really as much of a doomsday countdown as it otherwise would be. Nerchio is playing an exceptional game here. He's got up to 5 hatcheries here. He's got a macro hatch in the main, and despite a couple of good mine hits like the one we just saw out of Bunny, Nerchio is still doing a great job of trying to win this game, trying to force his opponent to stay on his side of the map, and when Bunny does commit like this, he does take some heavy losses. Once again, another push forward here from Bunny is going to get shut down by the looks of it, but this one is a pretty decent trade as long as he doesn't lose all of these medevacs, but he's not attempting to boost them away by the looks of it.
3-3 is just 10 seconds away from completion now for Bunny, but it's not going to help here. The Mutalisks were able to pick off the majority of the infantry, but that wasn't the best trade for Nerchio yet. Bunny doing a good job of splitting up his Marines, splitting up his infantry, trying to avoid getting those big connections on any of those units. For the moment though, just waiting to see if we get any more big trades down from these players, but it still seems Bunny is wanting to be the aggressor along this left-hand avenue in towards the 4th base of Nerchio.
Nerchio is continuing to morph a lot of Banelings here. The Mutas coming in from the side to try to deal with the new 4th base. The Marines are in position to try to deal with this. 3-3 Marines will shred the 0 Carapace upgrade Mutalisks here. A little bit of a push into the top left side here for Bunny, but a lot of Banelings are going to be able to roll on in. Looks like the units are still going to remain clumped here. Nice execution of the defense there by Nerchio. And these medevacs are going to be killed off as well. A couple of workers went down there, but overall, that's not a trade that Bunny can afford right now. Nerchio, he's not looking incredible economically himself. He's still only on 4 bases, not quite up to the 5 that he would like to. He does have a 5th base up now, but it's not quite saturated. But still, he's doing an exceptional job of just playing the right defensive game playing the game that's working very well against the style of play that Bunny's trying to utilize. And once again, the Mutas are going to pop back into the 4th phase, and this could once again do damage.
The concern for Nerchio always has to be how long can he keep this up, because he hasn't gone on to Hive Tech yet, he doesn't even have the Infestation Pit, so no sign of 3-3, he's at an upgrade disadvantage. And while these trades are picking apart Bunny's army, Bunny still has a pretty sizable amount of income, he's able to keep producing up. Probably the most annoying thing for him at the moment is the loss of the Medivacs. That's the one thing that he is probably not too happy about constantly resupplying.
I think the biggest thing right now that's kind of important to note about this kind of a playstyle that we're seeing out of Nerchio is that usually what you want is you want to crush one of your opponent's armies, take the momentum, and try to win the game there. As you said, there's no real aim to get up to Hive Tech here. He's just trying to get one of those crushing victories and then push on through to win the game. And with 3-3 on the map now, there is a chance that Bunny can pull that back without if Nerchio can't get one of those trades. And he's going to try once again to get one of those great trades. We have some good Widowmine hits coming off. A lot of the Mutalisks have been picked off as they came in from the back. Nerchio's actually engaging off of creep, which is never something you want to do in this kind of a position. And the Remax on a couple of Mutas and Lings is going to come on through, but Bunny, with a really good engagement there, I have to say, he may have the momentum to try to push through and try to pick off at least some of the creep, if not maybe that 5th base. And
if that 5th base goes down, it's going to really start hurting Nerchio. He hasn't taken the 9th and 10th gas over there either, meaning this heavy Baneling style is really keeping his gas low. In he comes now, though, a decent number of Mutalisks trying to engage. Good splits from these Marines. There's a fair few of them, not that much in the way of medevac support, but still, the majority of the infantry does stay up. Bunny splitting beautifully there away from the Banelings, and the 5th base of Nerchio starting to look like it could be in a heck of a lot of problems.
Yeah, that 5th base is basically dead and gone. Nerchio down by 20 supply, Bunny continuing to push forward. He still has that upgrade advantage that we talked about before, and Nerchio's going to try to come in again, but there's no Banelings with this army. A lot of the bio is very low on health, so it looks like he may be able to hold for now, but he has taken a lot of damage.
10 drones went down, that takes Nerchio down to 66. His 5th base is still standing, albeit just. Bunny, he smells a chance for victory, so that's why he's pushing so hard, engaging directly against these Mutalisks. Remember, the Mutas are 2-0. The Marines shooting at them at 3-3. Nerchio knows he's in trouble, pulling drones now, just going to try and tank up some of that damage, try to buy some more time for these Mutalisks to get some damage out, but Bunny going for that never-ending Terran push, rallying units across towards Nerchio's natural. Bunny pushing forth, he feels that he's got the chance to take this game, and it looks like he may well do it. There's no Banelings out at the moment for Nerchio, and that's really hurting him.
Yeah, the drones are not able to provide that much of a buffer here as the 3-3 Marines are going to continue pushing on forward. Bunny is nearly 3 times the supply. GG is called, and game number 1 will go to Liquid Bunny.